It was at this moment that he knew.
He bucked up. Welcome. You're listening to Bucked Up with Sam Buck.
Fucked up! Now you fucked up! Now you fucked up! Now you fucked up! Now you have fucked up!
From the clip, The Whitest Kids You Know.
Oh my god, I fucking love them.
Yeah, but the music, my friend John produced that. And have you ever heard of the rap group Das Racist?
Yeah.
So the one of the guys, Cool AD from Das Racist, was on my podcast.
No,
and
get the fuck out of here.
yeah, I have a lot, and I love rap. That's like I have a lot of
Yo, I
like.
could figure that because you said you knew about Tony Shalhoub. I was like, there's no fucking
yeah,
way.
no, I
There's
love
no
all.
way. That's something
yeah.
your Uber driver just says for the stars.
Because you were late, I almost Uncle John's like a block away. He was from DC. He's like one of my favorite rappers. He's like a block away. I was like, I just want to run over there with a phone and try to like get him over here,
Oh,
dude.
man, that'd be too
I love all that, like all that shit. But no, Cool AD did. I'm putting an EP together. I don't rap, but like
That's
DJ Khaled style, like
Yeah,
and
just mushing it all together.
yeah, and Cool
It's like-
AD put the first track out with that with the intro music. He rapped
That's
over it.
wild.
Yeah,
Fucking God.
yeah. So
dope
that's
as hell.
yeah,
It's very
but-
prestigious because they famously say no to a lot of shit.
yeah.
Like they could be way bigger and they're not.
He broke. Yeah, he left Sony while he was on tour before their debut album even came out. They put it out without. He just like left the group and it broke up, and they still put the album out even though they weren't together.
Hurts.
But we met at Laugh Boston when I was young as shit. We both were, but you were performing. What was that picture from? Was that when they had the chocolate sundae shows?
Something like that. I think it was
That
like black,
could
it's like
never-
Black, it's
that
like a
could
Black
n-
Boston situation, but it was so dope because it's in that like nice little hotel. It was very
Yeah,
funky.
Laugh
But
Boston.
yeah, I had not seen I don't want to say well produced urban shows, but it's just Slades. When you think, hey, a black guy's booking me from Boston, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to Slades.
Yeah.
This is gonna be scary.
That was a weird thing at Laugh Boston. They had the chocolates. That could not be a show now. I feel like a nice calling it that. And I would go just because I loved like Sam J and Lamont, like when they were coming up in Boston. Shout out Sam J. I mean, she just
She's
had her.
crushing it.
She
I'm
is.
trying to get over to her house right now to steal our weed from her. By the time you see this, your weed will already be gone.
No, but that was like, and then I just saw you randomly, and then we ran into each other in Connecticut at Jordan's show.
Yeah, I'm from Connecticut, so
You weren't ever a Boston guy?
No. I'm a New England guy, I guess, but people from Boston, like, they help me
Yeah.
out of Connecticut when I want to. But I fucking love Connecticut. I had multiple opportunities to move to Boston. A friend of mine was studying architecture out there, and he had like this crazy dope house. His professor was like, just take the house. And I was thinking about that for a while, but the Boston scene, it seems like a lot of those guys want to be in Boston. Like, you're not in Boston to get bigger than Boston.
Yeah.
If you're good or really good in Boston and you have bigger aspirations, usually you leave. And I was like, it just seems weird. Like, it's kind of the same temperature as Connecticut. I could make the same amount of money, and it's further from New York City. So I stayed in Connecticut. But
I don't get why
always
people move to Boston for comedy.
I
Like, if
never
you
got it.
started there, it's fantastic. Like, I loved being able to start out there, but
and you can become a mainstay in Boston and then tour. Off
Yeah.
that. But it just seems like a step backwards to be like, oh, I'm from New Hampshire now. I'm going into Boston. It's like, dude, just push yourself a little bit past that and just go to New York. Then.
when'd you go to New York? We're in New York now. When'd you come to New York?
Almost immediately. Oh, I still live in Connecticut. I came up just for the show.
Oh, do you? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. That makes sense now. But yeah, so you live in Connecticut still?
Yeah, I live in Mystic, Connecticut.
Is that? Can you try? How far is that?
It's like 300 miles from here. It's nasty.
That does suck. That does. I came up on Cape Cod, which is like a 2-hour drive
That
from
shit's
Boston.
So dope, though. Oh my god.
It's fun, but
Cannot go to Cape Cod without slapping Vampire Weekend. That's like my whole shit. Like my whole aesthetic.
Vampire Weekend. Yeah, they loved Cape Cod. Cape Cod's cool during the summer, but then
I
during
met
the
them.
winter.
Well, I met like two of them. The day I met Das Racist at a fucking video shoot for Future of all things and shit. They were like up in there and shit, and I wouldn't really know like how to pick them out of a crowd. My boy was just going nuts, and I was like, "Fuck, these are just white guys."
What were you doing on a Future music video?
It was the video for. I don't not know the song. Like I learned the song on my way there.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine, he shot a lot of shit for Supreme. Like he does like their spots and stuff. And he was shooting the Future video, and they needed like a. I I don't know the right word for it, so I'm just say cuck. But it was I just fucked your bitch in some Gucci flip flops.
Oh, you.
I was the guy having gotten his bitch fucked for whatever situation might have happened over like that. And yeah, the video never came out, and then I was like super sure I was gonna be like the most famous person in the world.
Yeah, I was about to be like, how do I not know that? Because that would be
Every
huge. That
single
would have
rapper
been.
was in that video. I already done like multiple music videos. I used to like work with like different rap artists and shit.
Yeah.
So terrible rap artists. But I had met Prodigy before, and he was at the
R.I.P.
video shoot. Yeah, R.I.P. The nigga was at the video shoot, and he was like, "Oh yeah, what's going on, man?" I'm like, "Oh, this dude remember?" He's like, "You're the dude with that good-looking girlfriend, right?" I'm like, "That's not as dope as I wanted this interaction to be, Prodigy."
That's how he remembered. At least he remembered you.
Yes.
Were you? I loved Mobb Deep growing up. Like that was one of my.
That shit on the way here.
Yeah.
It's in the playlist.
See, you have great taste in music.
I like to think that. I used to music blog for a long time. That's how I got a lot of my music relationships.
What's the music blog?
Yeah.
What's
during the blog era?
Oh, blog. Okay.
I was like one of those guys.
You were like writing up.
I was doing submissions, so I was like doing a little bit of the blurb, so it makes the write up easier when they gotta just go through the music. Sometimes it's like as crazy as it may seem, it's like how I learned how to do log lines is from listening to someone's album and then condensing it into like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
So that somebody else can write a review on it, whether like they just read and they're like, it seems like something I would be into. But
how'd you get into that?
A friend of mine used to run onsmash.com.
I remember that.
Yeah, used to run that, and then the feds took it, and then Complex like picked up a lot of the like pieces from that, and I just got absorbed into whatever they had going on. So I would just submit music. So if you were in like the 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16, and you were like decent underground, I got your shit on Complex. So I have like a bunch of like rappers that like would hit me up and be like, "Yo, you're the first person that got me on Complex," and then like it's like Smoke Dizza or someone like that. So
Oh, real? What other like artists did you do that for?
just like a shit. I don't know. I don't want to like.
Yeah, you don't.
But like just like a shitload of them.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of.
That's pretty cool though, because that's kind of.
Initially.
Are they?
It's hard to get out of that. I'm sorry, Anna. I'm so sorry. I have such a like. I have a lax like.
You can
structure.
chill. Do you want to
shit
hold your
posture.
mic? Like you
No,
can
I hate
lean back.
holding mics. Is there a way in comedy where we don't have to hold the mic?
You could be a mic stand comic where you sit on the stool and have the mic stand in front of you.
I never want to sit down, but I always like to put my like hands in my pockets because I don't know what to do with them and shit. I don't have like act outs.
I'm a big like I hold the mic with both hands, but then that looks weird.
One thing I like about Boston comics, because I like parlay everything kind to like sports and shit. But you guys are like Tom Brady's playing style. You know what I mean? Like you guys like sit right in the. I love that. Like they sit right in the pocket. They're just like pontificating, joke. There's not a lot of like fucking running around and.
I'm a pacer though, and it's funny because a lot of Boston comics aren't that. They think I am like nervous on stage because I'm pacing a lot, but it's just because I cannot stand still. Like
Same.
that's why I like smoking because it just like
Mellows
can
you out.
chill me out.
It
Yeah,
depends on the strain, but yeah, same.
that's yes, but also no. Like I don't feel the difference from strains. Even
Also-
good, I'm like it's either good weed, or bad weed, but like the strains don't really
Yeah, I would
change.
say
it.
I can't differentiate. Like I'm never like smoking them and be like, oh, this is fucking Alaska Thunder. Fuck, like I could not tell you, but I know like when shit gets weird. Like when I hit, I'm like, okay, this was a bad idea. I should not have done this.
Do you like? Did that? You said like you don't want to call out. Like, did that do you not like doing that anymore? Like, did you get
The
fucked
music
over
stuff?
by the music
no, not
system?
At all. It's just it's kind of daunting. You know what I mean? Like those guys, they have like their whole career or whatever like that, and like they'll just put like a lot of emails on your lap about like,
Yeah.
what they have going in their career, and it's like I'm trying to do my own thing. It's like 99.9% of my followers, I think, on Twitter come from that. Like people still send me beats. People still just hit me up about interviews or like trying to get in touch with like Joe LaBoom or whatever from Complex. I'm just like, I don't know, like, dude. I just do stand up now. Like I don't want to listen.
Were
to
you doing
mixtape.
comedy during all that time?
I'd started a little bit, but not really though.
How old were you when
I
you
wouldn't
started?
say probably 19, 20. I was still young enough to not be legally in a lot of the places I was in because you would have to go to events and stuff, and I would always have to like steal a wristband. But
Yeah. That picture that I have of you, my dad took it because I wasn't allowed in
Yeah,
Left
so like,
Boston.
okay, yeah, so
like,
we're the
yeah.
same, we're the same ilk. I think I was a little bit older then. I want to say maybe I was maybe 20, 21 at
How old
that
are you
particular
now?
time. I'm 29 almost.
Okay, I'm
so-
23. So,
So, I'm on my way. I'm
yeah.
on my way.
But you started at 19.
Yeah. So it's about 9, 10 years of seriously just straight doing comedy and just trying to get away from music stuff, I guess. I don't know. I still really like music a lot, so it sucks. Because, like, if my friends have shows and shit, like, I'm going to that. Like, I'm not doing
Yeah.
a fucking comedy show. I'm going to fucking hang out.
Well, I feel that with this podcast because, like, when I started stand up, I was like, stand up is the thing that's going to get me, like, a name for myself. And then
See, I never did that.
not that I wanted that, but I just mean in the way, I know that sounded bad, but, like, but this podcast has taken off way more than my stand up has taken off. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to be known for, like, interviewing rappers and comedians before I'm known as a stand-up, and that's a weird thing when I got into it just because of stand-up.
I think it's dope that you could have like the smell. Like, I'm kind of sort of trying to step into that now too. Like, so many rappers are like, you should do a podcast. But I'm like, I really don't want to have to talk to everybody. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
It's like, I'd rather just not know some of you guys. Like, some of my like favorite like rapper people, they're not good people. Or they're not interesting people even.
Yeah.
I should say interesting people. They're not as interesting as I would have expected them to be. So it's like, I would feel terrible if like I brought someone on my podcast and like, this guy was not a good person or like that. And then people didn't fuck with his music anymore. Like, I think about that mostly when I think about Joe Budden's podcast. I'm just like, if you liked his music, you probably don't now at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's gotta be hard to enjoy that shit.
Yeah, because he's, especially now, like now they kicked
That
off.
shit's fucking rough.
That was wild. How do you feel about that?
Uh,
Are you a listener of his podcast?
Not at all. Never have.
I'm not.
He's given me the most money for comedy than anyone has ever given me.
Really?
Money for comedy. Yeah, he had me host a pool party. We used to do these pool parties and stuff, and a sleepover. I did like a Joe Budden pajama party as well too. But yeah, he just thought I was funny, and he gave me a megaphone. He just let me walk around his like rented mansion in fucking New Jersey.
And tell jokes?
Yeah, mostly until I got drunk, and I was like,
Did it go all right?
Yeah, I met Kenyon Martin, so
So
big
it went
success.
all right. Yeah. I did a show at Faneuil Hall in Boston. It was outdoors, like in the middle of like, I didn't know what it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like a real show. But it's weird doing comedy for people who don't want to hear comedy. And
Yeah,
then you see people who
they
try
could
to
care
just
less.
do. We were talking about your show last night. You see people just try to do their jokes. It's like, what? No one wants to hear jokes.
No,
You better
not at all.
talk to these people like
Yeah.
a conversation.
It sucks
like,
so much because I towards the end I was like, I'm just fuck this set. You know what I mean? Like, I have like 4 jokes that I wrote today. I was like, I'm just gonna do these, and they all rang off. It was like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, no, there's no time left. Like, they were giving me I'm like, I have one more joke that I wrote. Like, this is now an open mic. And then the next guy that got up, he was like, I'm not gonna be yelling at you people. I'm not gonna, like, if you guys are not gonna shut up, then I'm gonna come out there. He just took the mic off the fucking jumps off the stage. It was like, DJ, hit that shit, and starts just running around singing the song, like putting the mic in people's face, making them sing the song. And I'm just like, that's what I wanted to do, but your friends is like, I didn't call you to do,
Yeah,
to do
to
that. Like,
fuck
what the
around.
fuck type of shit is this?
That is
But
tough. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I gotta get that kid's name. He was so fucking funny.
What was it? Oh, you don't know. He was-
It's Joey something, but I don't want to.
yeah,
say
I'll
it and
look
get
it up
wrong.
on the. That was I went to the first one. I'm so happy that like stand up is coming back. But were you able to do it at all over this past year?
Yeah, I got up not a lot, but enough. And I turned down way more shows than I did too. Like, people were still doing shows in Connecticut. People are doing like backyard shows. And in Connecticut, initially had those super low numbers.
Yeah.
I have a whole conspiracy theory on that as well too. But
What do you think it is?
You can't really quantify it, but I believe, like, I live in an affluent enough area where they are actually insulated from most things that are happening in the world. Like, it just doesn't happen to them.
Yeah.
Like, in my town, it took like maybe a year for me to see masks, and these are not conservative or liberal people. These are very old people, but not at risk or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. They have better health insurance than we have.
It's there in a bubble.
Yeah, I always feel like that, and then that's with everything. Anything that ever happens, like Black Lives Matter doesn't hit that town. Pandemics don't hit that town. It's like it's just weird.
Did you grow up there?
Yeah, I'm from there. Am I hitting you under there?
No, you're all good.
I've been trying to. I don't know where you're at.
We can play footsie if
I'm
you
looking
want.
for you under there.
Get more personal. No, but you grew up there.
Yeah, I'm from Connecticut.
When did you realize that was like super insulated?
I'm not exactly sure, but it's like sometime in school you're just looking around. Oh, you know, I can tell you, my family like created Black History Month for like the curriculum in my grade school.
Like they didn't have
Yeah,
it
they didn't
before
have
that.
it, and I don't know why they didn't have it. They just didn't have, like, they didn't like run a movie. You know, you run a
Yeah.
you run Amistad. That's what you do. Amistad is actually filmed like 40 minutes away from my house, but you there was none of that, and they implemented it after, like, I guess my mom made like a deal. She was like, hey, you guys are not doing Black. So they're like, okay, we can't put it in the curriculum now, but we'll put it like after school. So like after school, you can come for an hour and learn about Black History Month. And then moms were making their kids go. So like everybody's just looking at me like,
Yeah, so you're getting
like,
even
what type
more
of fucking
hate
shit.
for that.
Dads are showing up. Dads are like, what the fuck type of shit is this?
Instead of sports,
It's like, we got to deal with this shit.
How old were you when that happened?
Like 9, 10, something like that. I remember getting a really good laugh because my friend was Jewish and he was there, and everybody was really mad because this is a Catholic school, and everybody was really mad that we had to go to that extra, fucking thing. And I was like, people are more mad at me than they are at this guy right here. And older dad like laughed, like let out like a big laugh, and I knew I couldn't get in trouble because it was after school, but like I still kind of got in trouble. But that's when I realized I could probably make jokes that are inappropriate, and then the smartest person in the room is gonna laugh at that joke. It was kind of my thing.
So you realized like right at 9 that like shit, I'm in a town that's like what's that movie with Jim Carrey? Or he's in a
Grinch.
TV show? The Grinch. When he's in a TV show. Do you know what I'm talking about, Ani? He like everyone's filming him. He's like the
Truman Show.
Yeah, the Truman
Oh, it's
Show.
like my favorite Jim Carrey movie too.
Yeah, that seems very similar. Probably
Second only
like,
to The Grinch.
but like not knowing, because not that I came, but I grew up in this weird like farm town, and then I went to an international high school, and that's when I was like, oh shit, things are different.
Oh yeah, I forced myself into public school. I was like, on the course to being like probably a very different person, and we just didn't have any chicks. I was like, yeah, there's no
Was
God.
Was
Like,
it
every
an
time I go to
all
a
boys
mall-
school? Or
It
was
wasn't all boys school, but it was the Williams School, so it's like liberal arts.
Yeah.
So like, chicks are not into liberal arts until it's too late.
Were you making music, or were you just like writing
I
about
was
it?
executive producing for a couple of artists locally, but like not anything like from just me. And I was helping my boy like start a production team, and he was actually getting some pretty solid placements as well too. But when I started doing the blogging stuff, it became kind of like tumultuous because these guys are not of the quality of the like what the complex is looking for, and it would put a strain in your relationship with your friends because they're like sending you shit and you're like, dude, it's not up to me whether or not, like, the no's are not coming from me.
Yeah.
Like I'm slapping your shit. I think it's fucking dope. Your mom makes a solid meatloaf. People at complex, not so much. They don't know about your mom's meatloaf.
It's true. I hope people listening to I feel that too, because like I'll have people who want to come
On the pod,
on the podcast for their music or for whatever, and it's like it's also sucks because I am not I still am like I'm not a comedian that's known, but the level of comedians and people I get are higher, so it does put a strain on your relationship where it's like I love your stuff, but it's like that's not what I can do right now. That's not where I can
it's not
put
the content that you're offering. But you gotta tell those people. What I've told them was like, yo, when you send your stuff to me, I'll make sure that I will be your third or fourth post. So if you can get someone else to post it, like don't look at me to be the first post. You know what I'm saying? Like if your shit is good, people are gonna post it, and that's usually how blogs work. Like one blog posts it, and then you can post the like 4 or 5 links to these blogs. Like, hey, you guys don't want to be late on this, and I can send. I've done that before and gotten people to wake up on a bunch of artists. Like they're like, well, we're not fucking with this guy. And you got to send a whole bunch of links to people like you guys are the only people that don't know this dude's dope. I've done that for artists before, so I don't know, maybe that helps. You tell them like,
no.
I will be your 19th podcast. Get 20 podcasts going and then I'll pop up.
Did that, so you had like publicity, but a little bit of a name when you started stand-up?
I think I'm the only comedian to ever do Summer Jam. I'm pretty sure it's just me. I think.
How old were you?
I don't want to say I was like 24 maybe at that time.
How many years into comedy were you when you did it?
Like 3. And like working probably like 2.5 solid. Like I would do tours with artists. This dude Ricky Hill, probably have no idea who this guy is, but he's Tommy Hilfiger's son and he's a rapper.
Okay.
And he's from Connecticut, and I did his merch for him. And then he let me go on tour and do the merch. So every show I would like set up the merch and all that stuff. So I designed the stuff and then I was like selling it. And I did that for a while. And then while I was on that tour, I would just like try to do comedy in whatever town we would pop up at. And this dude has a crazy fan base. Like I never knew like people were into his shit because he would always tell me people was into shit. I'm like, dude, just shut up. You're on my hockey team at best. Like you're not good at stuff. But yeah, people actually fucked with him, and I met Dom Kennedy through that tour.
I love Dom Kennedy.
I was on the yellow tape tour. He was putting that shit together. So he would come out and do the songs before like people would hear him and shit.
That's
so it was
crazy.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't even make any sense. And this is like that's like blog era shit. Like he's like a legend of the blog era. He's one of the very few people that I felt didn't really get a good hit on the transition. Like even how
but he
Currency
put on
has.
so many, like look at what Larry June has started. Like there's so many artists.
Yeah, the waves there.
From
The waves there. But he just didn't have, I think, the fundamentals to make money off of his music by himself. Like he was always putting it to a level where he was waiting for a bigger label to pick him up. And then like we know now, like the big labels were hollow. There's nothing, and so like they don't have any fucking selling power.
Even now, like I'll listen to his albums and they're really good, but like not for nothing, the artwork like is lagging. And now
I
it's
think
like
his
you
last
need
shit
to.
I
It
really
has to
fucked with
be.
was please make a home safe, maybe,
Yeah,
or get home safe. I think
that's
was, like, the last
a
one I fucked with.
that's a long time ago,
Yeah.
right?
A lot of times he just drops shit. I'm just like,
Yeah, I
like,
fuck
what
with
are you
him.
doing?
Who do you listen to? Like, what are you listening to now?
I listen to everything.
How'd you feel about Whole Lotta Red?
Whole Lot of Red was really good.
I've gone back to it and now I love it, but I hated it when it first came out.
When it first came out, I think the energy was just off because we were inside. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be like outside, like wilding out with your friends, that shit. But
Yeah.
you just gotta think about like Dial It. Like look at the cover of Dial It. Like it really embodies the album, I feel like. But like that's Playboy Cardi's music, like rage music.
I was talking about my friend about this, how like Playboy Cardi's one of the only rappers that I've liked everything he's gone through. Like I listened to him when he was signed to Awful Records. Like I love Father, I love all that shit.
Yeah.
And to see where he is now, it's like such a weird
Awful Records,
progression.
that's like a fucking time encapsulation right there. When you say Awful Records, it's like you just remember the very first time you got really drunk.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that shit's too good.
Father's
last
great.
shit was great too.
Yeah, he's great, but he's it is weird how some artists never get past a certain stage.
His shit is all mental, I believe. He went to art school, so he's like he used to actually do a lot of people's press kits. Like that was a thing for artists back then. When you would submit to a blog, you would have like a picture of yourself, something nice about you, and then like a mashup of like 4 of your videos, like a song medley. He would do that for a lot of artists in Atlanta. Like he
really?
He figured out exactly what it had to look like for like a bigger person to fuck with. But he went to art school and he always had like body issues, like he didn't like the way they looked or like
Yeah.
that. So he would just write records for like chicks and try to like make chick artists and stuff like that. So when a lot of his shit started hitting, it was off reference records. So he wasn't even a rapper. By the time like we'd heard his shit,
Yeah.
he was writing those songs for like other people and shit. You know what I mean? And then he just popped. So I feel like this is just something I noticed with comics and people in general. A lot of times people are waiting to catch up to their perception of what everyone else will fuck with. Like, you know what I mean? You ever
Yeah.
write a joke and you're like, I can't wait to be the guy that can tell a joke. You are that guy. because you wrote it, but there's something in your head that says you can't be that till you get this.
Yeah.
It's worse with rappers, I feel like, because it's such a like a braggadocio motherfucking genre where it's like, hey, I got a big fucking dick, I got a big chain, I got a big car, and then you're coming in, you don't have any of those things, so you're like, I don't have the same confidence as these people. But it's just entertainment. I think that if he ever got past that, he would blow, like almost immediately, because there's so many more people that look like him than look like whatever else he, there's no perfect people buying records.
That's why Griselda is like my favorite.
I have no idea how that shit fucking popped, because
I have a Griselda. Like,
it's such a sound out of time. Like that shit is so dope.
That shit started like I went
sonically.
up,
That's like Buckshot, Smith and Wesson, motherfucking.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that.
You
shit.
were talking about Mobb Deep, like
Yeah, there you
fucking
go.
Havoc is producing their shit now.
I would say this is like blasphemous, I think, for everyone, but I don't like Havoc produce Mobb Deep as much as I like fucking Alchemist produce Mobb Deep. Like,
100%.
I was just driving here to Your Niggas Got Twisted. And that shit is just so fucking cold. Like, oh my god, it sounds like a scary movie.
Well, it's so weird how cause I'll put this. I thought Bandana was one of the best albums ever. Like, I love that album, but I did not like Alfredo. I didn't like Alchemist and Freddie Gibbs together.
That's wild, because I love Freddie Gibbs and I love Alchemist, but I didn't think that they really hit it off.
No, that album wasn't as great as everyone was saying. And
you know what I think it more than anything else? Because I fucked with Freddie Gibbs beforehand. I think it was the cast that never fucked with Freddie Gibbs fucked with that album. They were like, oh, he is as good. Just like, no, this is Alchemist beats. Like, Freddie Gibbs is phoning this in mostly right
he
now.
was yeah, but the back to the Griselda thing is like they're like in their 40s. They look like not other rappers, like, because they lived a life and now rap about it instead of like creating the life around them rapping.
That's another thing I think that wins in rap music a little bit more than probably any other genre is authenticity. Like, Atlanta has that really fucking beautiful, distinct line. New York's getting in there too, but they have that really beautiful, distinct line where somewhere around like the 2000 aughts, like you got Jeezy and those guys are talking about things that they had done, and then you can like actually go back and authenticate some of the stories, like this guy was really trapping, he's really doing this, and then right at the exact same time you have like Fabo and that bubblegum music and all that shit, and now you have like a melding of that in Atlanta. You got a guy like Young Thug where it's like this dude can show up with a dress but he has a gun under it for some reason.
I remember I was on Young Thug on his first mixtape before like
Please Keep Up With Me.
Yeah, I knew that he was gonna be something, but it's it's like Lil Yachty going up. I don't know if you like Lil Yachty at all, or I like the Detroit scene and
that
the
shit
Flint
is, again, it's just
amazing.
like, how the fuck did this shit happen?
It's amazing.
Like, I wouldn't have called that. I wouldn't have called that. And
I was just talking to Kid L, who does like Sada Babies episodes. That episode is already dropped here. But I love like
shout
YNJ.
out to my man Wayno. Love everything you're doing with the side.
But like Rio to Young OG, like there's YNJ, BFB to Pac-Man. There's so many great rappers out of Flint and Detroit right now.
Yeah, there was a cat Detroit comic yesterday at the gig. And he was just naming names, and I was like, bro, I just thought it was like Dobie. It's like if you didn't rap like Eminem and you didn't rap like Big Sean, I didn't really know where you would fit in there. And then T Grizzy came and kind of went like he had like a little fizzle, but I mean, people had never really gravitated towards. Like your scene does not pop until people that are not in your scene want to sound exactly like you. You know what I'm saying?
And that's happening now with the Detroit scene.
Yeah, and I would have never thought that, because I'm like, people are never gonna try to rap like Eminem except like Eminem. That's the guy that raps like him. People never gonna rap like Big Sean. This guy's not terrible, but he's not the best rapper going right now.
But that is all because of 03 Greedo and Draco the Ruler going away. If they never got locked up, then the Detroit scene, I don't think would have gotten as big. Even though they're from LA, Detroit took that, or Flint too, took that sound and like if you listen to Cold Devil by Draco, which before he got locked up, like that just sounds
all
like
his shit before he got locked up was so fucking ahead of time. And it's like I don't think he missed a step. I think he put out shit that he was like recording and hadn't released or whatever like that. So like that's kind of something. But
it was the authenticity. He literally would just go in there so leaned out.
I don't know. I don't know if he has that in him anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think
he's not
jail ruined him. Like they put him in solitary. Like they ruined him in there. And fucking with
Greedo and that bitch too.
And Catchy getting fucking murdered.
Sure, Mafia is over. It's pretty much over.
Yeah,
it's like
That whole LA scene could have popped. We were talking like the SOB RBE when they had that shit with Kendrick, and then you got Shoreline, and then
the LA scene was ruined by podcasts. Like, it was ruined by podcasts. Because like you got just too much information on like artists that you actually fucked with by just watching No Jumper. And like if you did, like I told you, it was like if you didn't have a good No Jumper, like one of my favorite artists of all time is actually talking to this gentleman, this nigga Key. He's one of the worst interviews.
I love.
He's like one of the worst. Like he's like one word answer. He'll put his head down. He'll slouch, and we'll have to keep telling him to get close to the mic. He's garbage. This guy no good. But yeah, that's a lot of those guys' first crack at publicity, and they would come up there and either cap nonstop, or they would come up there and like get drunk and high for absolutely no reason, and like they wouldn't be able to do what they're there to do. You're there to entertain, kind of inform people about what you guys got going on, and make them anticipate what you got coming next. And you sit and watch a guy for 3 hours roll up 4 blunts, where like, this guy's kind of a loser. You know what I mean? Your phone didn't even ring the whole time you were there. It's like that's not good.
It that's why I kind of like to take the like chill. Like I like when people smoke on it, but I was just watching an interview with Soulja Boy on the Bootleg Kev podcast, and Soulja Boy was so fucked up that it was just like not an enjoyable podcast, even though like I wanted to watch what he was doing now.
I feel like that with Drink Champ sometimes. I don't always watch, but I was so happy when I watched the Cameron episode, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not drinking. Nah, I'm not smoking." I'm like, "Oh my god, Cam, straight edge."
So I don't know. Do you know like the Griselda affiliated scene at all? Like, do you listen to that?
I listen to some of it. So I'm not deep down. I don't have.
I'm deep in that stuff. So there's this
guy.
The shirt. There's this guy JC. My whole closet is just
that's fucking crazy.
Like literally, I'll show you. I've custom made like guy stuff outside. But I had Jay Skis on, who signed to Conway.
That's fine.
Signed to Drumwork, and he was talking about like how he, after partying one night, was like, I'm gonna be sober now. I'm just gonna be sober. And then when he got invited to the studio for the first time with Conway to like sign, he was like, they had like all these bottles, all these blunts going. He's like, but if I like got fucked up, I would have never been able to sign to him. Like it was because I just stayed and could like rap that got me signed. And it was like, yeah, like you took it like a professional, but I feel like a lot of people don't. They don't take it professionally.
Yeah. And you know, it's crazy that you speak about that Boston show. That was like my kind of awakening to having to be a more professional person, because I'd gotten car service and I had been late to it twice. They charge you regardless. Like you know what I mean? Like they're like, okay, you just spent $275 or nothing, and I was going and doing shows, and I was like, you know, just trying to get my notoriety up, but I was paying way more to go do the shows than I was getting on the show.
Yeah.
And then I would get to the show and I would either get drunk or get high, and it'd be like, I don't even remember what I came here to do. Like it's kind of becoming like partying becomes a detriment to like doing business.
Yeah. And that's why I used to be a big drinker. I do smoke a lot. I like to smoke, but sometimes it does hold me back. Like it does like getting high. Like I did a podcast yesterday. I was smoking during the whole thing, and I was like, I feel like it would have been better if I smoked beforehand or didn't do it on it, because like you want it to be chill, like you want it to be like a hangout, but
at the same time you want it to be authentic. You know,
you're
what I mean?
like on, like it's still like a thing happening. So what you at that Boston show? Did you just get like?
No, they had sent an email basically telling them not to let me drink before the show. Like, do not let this guy drink. And I'm just like, yo, that's like some Sam Kinison shit.
Who told you that? Like your man? Did you have a manager?
It was kind of a manager at that time. It was a guy. He used to be Troy Ave's manager. He runs Cinematic Records now. I don't know if you know what Cinematic is.
Yeah.
He runs Cinematic Records now, and he would just do these little pieces of business for me. You know what I mean? Like I would get an email that I didn't know. I was like, I don't know what to do. And this guy wants to give me $1,300. And like, all right, I'll figure this out. So, yeah, he was just like, you have to go and get okay, he's like, I'm gonna show you how to get booked. Like you have to go to these shows. He was like, you have to make sure that you're presentable, that you're dressed, that you're kempt. Then you have to get pictures and footage of you at these shows, and like I'll compile it and I'll be sending that to bookers. And he had like this huge booker list, and he's just like, you know, pushes the button and it just goes all these people. And so I went and I did that show. I, you know, was sober enough to pull it off, but like immediately after that, I started getting shows. You know what I'm saying? And I started making money, and it just, I don't know. I was also reading a book. You know Sarah Silverman? Have you read her book?
Yeah.
Where she was talking about make it a treat. And I don't know, that just stuck with me a lot. It was just like, yeah, sometimes you have to just be like, oh, I get to do this after I do this. It just makes it more enjoyable. So that was like my big thing of just getting away from smoking, 14 blunts every single day, and then try to also function.
Yeah, being a professional. When did you? So you were like you said 3-4 years in when like
Yeah.
you were like I'm gonna take this seriously.
Yeah, well, because I already like kind of had money. You know what I mean? Like I think that's like one of the worst things that can happen to you as a creative person. It's like you not need to do any of the work.
Yeah.
Like none of the work. Yeah, and comics hate that shit. Like you'll be hanging out with comedians and be like, "Oh, I'll get everyone's drinks." They're like, "No, come on, please. How will you get home? How will your family eat?" I'm like, I got this. Don't. It's just dollar pizza, dude. I got it. Don't worry about it. But
Do
a
you
lot
think
of
that hindered you?
yeah, for sure. Because a lot of these people have the desperation of like they need to do this show. To I was hanging out with comics when I first started in New York City, where I would drive them, back because I had a car. I would just drive them back to wherever they were going. And I'm like, "Yo, this is so fucking far." And he was like, "Yeah, like I don't come out of my house with money. I just have my fucking metro, and then I make enough money to put on the metro to go back home." And I'm like, "Well, that's why you're good at comedy, dude, because like you like have to do this shit." But
Yeah.
I just always look at it as if I didn't have to do it, then and I still wanted to do it, then it was what I was supposed to be doing. So I just like put both feet down. But yeah, I was spending way too much money to do comedy, like way too much money.
Comedy is at a loss. Like it's not like a thing that you like. Even at the store, you get like what $15 for like a set.
Yeah, something
like,
crazy
you know
like
what I
that.
mean? $25
Something
or
crazy
something.
like
It's
that.
like even if you're at the top, you're not.
I think I got $40 the first time I did Caroline's. Was 2 shows in one night, and both of them shits were sold out. They're like picking up the back curtain to fill in more seats, and they just slide you $20. I'm like, what the fuck? Is this my tip?
Do you feel like you must love like you're doing comedy 10 years, like you love it? Like, do you want to?
It sounds so crazy when you say that because I want to get someone to say that to my mom. It's so good.
Are they supportive of your comedy career?
Not at all. I mean, now she's kind of coming around now. Like she's been to she went to a show I did in Myrtle Beach, and Chris Rock came to the show.
Oh wow.
And that shit was fucking nuts because he was just in the background not laughing. And I'm just like, yo, you're the only person not laughing. It's just you and my mom. You're the only people in here not laughing.
They just become best friends.
Yeah, I was
after
like, yo,
that.
this fucking sucks. And then even after, like on Facebook or whatever, like she's like, oh yeah, great comment. Never mentions me at the comment show. Chris Rock was there. I was like, what the fuck? That nigga's not your son.
But you want you just do it for love because
Yeah, mostly.
do you want to do you see yourself continuing to do it?
I hope so.
No,
I
like
don't have a job.
well, like
I don't have a
the stuff,
job,
the
Sam.
world's opening back up. You know what I mean? So like shit is opening back up, and I feel like there's
I'm on
comics
tour
who
with
are like,
Damon Wayans Jr. right now, by the way.
oh, are you?
So
That's awesome.
I don't know which one I'm supposed to be pointing out.
You can. It's this one actually.
All right.
There you go. You're
I
going on
appreciate
tour.
you, Junior. No,
That's
I mean we've been on tour already.
Oh,
I think I'm like 16 dates down, something else like that.
that's awesome.
He got COVID. I'm not supposed to tell you that, so please edit it out. He got COVID.
Well,
in the middle of the
can you
tour.
write a
He got
timestamp down?
he got
on that?
COVID in the middle of the fucking. No, I don't give a fuck. He got COVID in the middle of the fucking tour, and then he lied to everyone and told us that he was vaccinated. He wasn't vaccinated, and he just fucking got COVID, so he had to like stop. But he's coming back. I think it starts back in June.
That's
So
cool.
let's go back out with him and shit. And he's somebody like I've not looked up to,
Mhm.
but I've definitely taken a peek at his career coming up because he had huge shoes to fill. And then he's like, 16, 17 years old, opening up for the kings of comedy. He used to do that. And he's a guy that, didn't need the money.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like it's like easy for you because you started out like young, working with like putting on it's just a job like starstruck and stuff, like working with someone who's your idol.
I have been starstruck before. It was fucking Prodigy. Right?
That
God
was
bless his soul.
it.
But not. Most of the time I'm talking to someone that I have more money than. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I just make sure that I take that kind of air of responsibility when you're talking to somebody that you want to do business with, that you're kind of keeping it at a business level.
Yeah.
It's like if you walked in to buy a cheeseburger and they were too enthusiastic, you wouldn't eat there. You'd be like, nah, something's going on.
That's what makes you stay like chill then. Like, do you work on trying to?
I think I'm one of the most arrogant pieces of shit thus far. Like I'm out of my mind most of the time. I don't think I've Like I capitalize just me and myself in most of my sentences and like in emails and shit like that. People hate like it has to be read by somebody else. But I think that kind of like air of a person just being honest. Like I don't really have anything to lose. I think people kind of gravitate towards that more than anything else. But I couldn't tell anyone how to like be successful or like get money and stuff like that. Shit comes from my like parents and stuff. Like they have money,
Yeah.
but they're gonna die soon.
And then it's you. But that allowed you to like, it is like you say like the people who have to work to get the money to put the Metro card in. That is,
They're always better.
yes, but you probably can put more time into it. Like you can put your 10,000 hours in quicker.
Not even quicker, but I feel like my steps are more genuine. You know what I mean? I only really work with people that I actually have respect for. Like I don't have to do anything, and I think that that's probably where some of the resentment comes from with certain New York City comics. But I always see people in situations where like, oh, this producer's an asshole, this guy's an asshole, or I hate working with this guy, or I hate my job, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, and then the comedy's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And with me, it's like I just circumvent all that stuff. It's like if this guy's an asshole, I just won't work with him. It's like there's no possible way you could pay me bar tickets, like drink tickets, and then talk to me like I couldn't just pay your rent, your girlfriend's rent, your dog's rent. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't need to be here, so you can't speak to me in this particular way. Like I'm just gonna go somewhere else. So I skipped a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
So I'm not as bitter as those particular guys. But I believe if you go to a place that you don't want to be and you still excel there, then you're gonna be better than me. Like these guys have like their teeth are way sharper than what I've got going on. Even last night at the stand, my clothes look remarkably better than everyone else's there because you guys came out of the subway, but these guys have a joke about being in the subway. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so
do you think you say but do you think that holds you back? Like, do you feel that in your mind?
Only if we're all trying to get to the same thing, which I don't think we are. I was like, I kind of want all my fans to look like me, to sound like me, to know who Tony Snow is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I'm not really like a for the mass type of guy. Really, that was never been my thing.
Well, you came up like, right, like with rap, like in the rap world before the comedy world. Is that
for sure?
So that's kind of where your basis is. Would you say like that's kind of how you feel about it more?
I definitely try to move like a rapper would move.
There's a lot of similarities. Like
I was doing the fucking Hannibal's Comedy Commissado tour, and he made me take out my fronts. Like he was like, "You can't have these no more and shit. Like you got gold teeth and shit." And the very next tour, he got fronts. I want to let that be known. Got fronts the very next tour, you son of a bitch.
Were you allowed to wear yours on that tour?
I was not invited to that tour. I found that out on Instagram.
You saw the picture of the
Yeah,
front.
I'm like, yo, what type of shit is this? Yo, two
stole
things. I mean, everybody in comedy stole my style, some stuff. Like, y'all niggas was not wearing. I want to say the entire world was not wearing Jordan 1s. There's nobody that can convince me that you had these fucking shits on before me. I was in SOBs. Kanye West came up to me. It was like, yo, I see you.
Yeah?
Yeah, and then they had the video when he had like the bands on.
When that happened? If anyone in the comedy world starts wearing Griselda merch, like Bly and Tell shit, which is very rare, like they make so limited numbers of every piece that I'll know that I started that shit. You heard it here first. If anyone starts wearing Griselda shit, I feel bad. I don't want to talk shit. I love, like, Kanye's one, like, The Life of Pablo is my favorite Kanye album, and people think I'm crazy for saying that.
That is crazy.
That's my favorite. But I did not like Ye or the other one, the Christian one.
See, this is all my art job shit. Like, no one ever sees these pictures and shit. I don't keep this shit said. But yeah, this is that old. That's the first time I've ever been SOBs. And it came
2012.
Yeah, and I probably had them for like 4 or 5 years up to that point. And I got those at the Flight Club on Mercer. So
oh yeah,
it's like you have to know. It's like that's where I came up in that particular era of like Days Quality Meat, or opening ceremony, Flight Club, Mercer Flight Club, like shit like that.
What's big? Like what brands do you like now? Like what's your?
I like Raf Simmons a lot. That's all I fuck with. Right. For streetwear, I like Brain Dead. Shout out to them on the T. I don't know. I used to really fuck with Supreme, super heavy and shit, man. That shit just came and went. It was like
It's so big. Yeah,
it
it's
hurt.
so
It hurt
yeah.
so much, and it was like one of those things where you're like really proud of like someone's accomplishments, but like you also have to let it go. It's like I see like 14-year-old girls wearing this shit. I was like,
Yeah. Well, that's how I love Kid Super shit. I don't.
oh
Like,
my god. See, even that, it's like, where do you get that now?
Yeah.
Like, where do you go to get that?
Well, he works a lot with Grizz. Like I was up in Buffalo for
Do not tell me he does their merch.
He does a lot. He works
That's
with.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, so I was up in Buffalo for their gallery opening. West Side Gun opened up a art gallery and a clothing store, and Kid Super was there for the opening. But he does like a custom jacket for West Side and shit. Like
That's
he works
amazing.
with them.
Yeah, those dudes are amazingly fly too.
They are.
Which I did not expect that coming out of Buffalo.
That's
Like, I
what
don't
I'm
know.
saying. I
thought
love.
that was like more hick country and shit. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone from Buffalo that's listening. It's like I did not. I only been to the Funny Bone. I didn't hang out in the town.
What? So you said, who are you listening to? Like, do you have artists that you're like really fans of now that are not like?
I like Ken
big?
Carson.
I don't know that name.
Ken Carson is pretty good. If you like Playboy Cardi's last album, then that's most of those tracks were like done by Ken Carson. Like he like had
Oh,
those
yeah.
songs first and then get into Playboy Cardi. Ken Carson and that nigga Lancey. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
the cat from
Mhm.
France. Those two people together are what Playboy Cardi is. Like,
His new stuff.
yeah, I don't know how he even found those guys, but I fuck with that shit. I fuck with pop star Benny. He's a producer. Do
Yeah.
you know this guy?
Yeah, he did a lot of shit
He's
for.
some shit for Snow.
Yeah, he did shit for Chief, like right in like Fredo.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Um,
Because Fredo was one of my favorite. I mean, it still
That's
is,
crazy.
But
R.I.P. Yo, it's so crazy that rappers be dying, dog. Like I just because I'm like,
ton
yo,
of
I
them.
still listen to y'all music. I'm in the car. I'm hitting shuffle. I maybe went through like 12 dudes that are just deceased, Prodigy
Yeah.
included.
yeah, it's well. That was like, I was supposed to see Jimmy Wapo open up for Wiz. And I've seen Wiz. I just really wanted to see Jimmy Wapo, and that was like a week before.
passed.
A week before that, like I was supposed to see. I love Ski Mask, or I don't. I did. He hasn't put new shit
I
out
was
at
say the
all.
same thing, and I feel like he's the most human person
Yeah.
in rapper, so he's probably super dealing with.
And
all
he
the shit
lost
that's
all.
happening.
So I was
Yeah,
supposed
they all
to
went.
see him and Juice World together,
Mm.
and Ski Mask tried to. I don't know if they say this openly, but he tried to like kill himself, and so he canceled the show. And Juice World came, and I saw Juice World. I didn't get to see Ski Mask,
so
and it's
crazy.
such a weird like thing that like Ski Mask is living now, and Juice
World's
World's
not.
dead. You know what I mean?
Actually hit me with a 2-hit combo, yo. Like him and Kobe going. I was like, oh shit, fuck. How am I gonna get through this shit?
Yeah.
Also, I always find out like which one of my friends is like a real drug addict when like a celebrity dies and shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
This is like Kobe, and your friends are like, I'm going through it right now. Like we got pop bottles. Like all right, cool. It's like Regis Philbin. You're like, all right, man.
Regis Phil.
Like Alex Trebek just passed, nigga. You
I'm a
what?
big Jeopardy fan.
roll up, man.
Roll up, man.
I'm not
Roll
going to
up.
work.
Yeah, the amount of people who said they watched Jeopardy that never did, or any rapper who dies, like Pop Smoke, like he's so big now.
I can't even have sex with a girl if I haven't watched Jeopardy with her yet. It's like,
You
I'm
gotta
not-
prove you're smart.
yeah, I was like, I'm not even taking any risks. Not taking any risks at all. Or prove that you're really dumb. Either or. It depends on what type of sex I'm looking for right now. I'll see what I can get away with.
I was watching. I'm horrible at. I know so much about useless facts that'll never be on Jeopardy. Like I
Same.
know so much about like things that'll never be on Jeopardy. And there was one category that was like rap, and not a single person got a single one right. It was the only category I ever got right in Jeopardy. I hate that show. It makes me feel like dumb.
Yeah, I'll be
Makes me feel like an
smashing.
idiot.
I'll be literally smashing on that show. Like people always like, you taped this episode. There's no fucking way. Hitting these shits out the park.
I'm not good at memorizing just like useless information.
I would not necessarily say I memorize it, but I've had the conversation. Like whatever it is, I've talked way too fucking much. I have a conversation, and
Why don't you want to do a podcast?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm about to have to do one because this dude, he was watching. Shout out to Derek, I believe his name is. He was watching my story for like 3 years, and he was like asking me all these shits, like questions about marketing. He was like, how do you do your marketing? How do you make money with your store? I was like, it's not really profitable. Sometimes somebody does hit me up and say like, hey, I got this clothing brand. Is there a way we can send you guys some clothes? Can I send you some stuff? I'll send you some money if you post it. I'll do that every now and again. I have to really like it though, but I don't even like telling people that because it lessens the integrity of the story. If you know that I'm taking money and I post like a cool pair of jeans, you're like, well, he got paid to post it. So it's really weird where I have to really want to work with the person to be able to do it. I don't really know if that's profitable yet.
Yeah.
But he skipped that part. He was just like, okay, you post cool stuff, people like the cool stuff, you post funny stuff, you get engagement, you ask people to engage with you, and then you make a sales post. And then he just kind of like copied what I did, and he's got all these pages that are like booming now. And he said he's starting a creative studio and he wants to do a podcast. He was like, I don't know what you want to do, but I kind of sort of want to do something like what you do on your story. And my podcast would probably look like a mix between Wayne's World,
Your
YouTube
story
parodies,
is insane.
Yeah, YouTube parodies, like whatever's popular on YouTube, I'll do like a parody of that. And interdimensional cable from Rick and Morty. It'd probably be that, like a match with that. Because I like
Do you write sketches and stuff? Like
I write sketches all the time. I'm not very good at sketch writing. I do have an affinity for it though. Like it's something I want to get good at.
Yeah.
But so many people send me sketches that are not like dropped yet. They're like, yo, do you think this is funny? Thing that's funny. And I would think it would be dope to just have a home base for all those personalities, like all the online peoples. Like I would just have a story. I would just have a podcast that would be maybe me talking about a topic, like you said, about useless knowledge that you guys probably not going to care about, energy suppression. But I'm going to talk about that for 14 minutes.
Yeah.
And then while you could hear the audio of me, it'd probably be like visually like a kung fu fight or some shit like anime or something.
Like Midnight Gospel type shit.
To keep you visually engaged. Yo, somebody told me to watch that. Someone just told me to watch that. I haven't watched it.
It's the dude who does Adventure Time animates Duncan Trussell's podcast.
Oh, that's crazy.
And so it's just this crazy animation while Duncan Trussell's like podcast plays
crazy.
in the
That's
background.
crazy. I fucking love Adventure Time. But yeah, I'm gonna
But you do
something
like your
that.
mind is like that makes sense because your Instagram story is wild. You post the craziest shit.
It's a bunch of garbage.
How do you find how do you not find that shit, but like find time for it? Like
have two phones.
you have 2 phones, like
Everybody
you're
goes, "That's
Kevin
right."
Gates.
Yeah,
and that
I
shit.
have two phones, and they're just jam packed. Well, this one's dead, but they're just jam packed with memes and like.
Are you just on like
disgusting
TikTok
content.
simultaneously on both?
Not all the time. You know, one thing that's happened lately, and I actually hate to say this, but I gotta shout them out, is people dump a lot of shit on me. People like, this would go great on your. I'm like, yeah, okay, so you're right, I guess. I'll just put it up there. But I have to be really bored to make one, and I do it mostly because I have ADD. It's like I need some. If not, I'll just be watching like a friend's fucking story 71 times and annoying him.
I'm like addicted to TikTok now, and I hate it. Like I really like. I need to delete it because it'll just be 2 hours of me watching girls shake their ass. Like I was talking about this, like for real. Like it's just like
I
how
thought
is-
you were gonna say funny TikToks. Or some
No,
shit.
my TikTok is just hot. Like literally, it's just like I don't know how every girl is hotter than the one before. Like TikTok knows
Yeah,
what they're doing.
TikTok's pretty
They
good.
know what they're
TikTok's
doing,
pretty
and
good.
then it's like, how
like-
are all these white girls? How are there so many white girls with big asses who know how to dance? Like where?
I don't know.
Where are
But you
they
know
all
what?
from? Where are they?
They're destroying a stereotype. They're out for blood on that stereotype. That's just
TikTok,
crazy.
shout out the Chinese government.
TikTok is dope. I fuck with TikTok, but I was like, I watch, not create. I couldn't be a dude like creating TikTok. If you're like, I'm addicted to TikTok, and then you have 17,000 TikToks, I'm like, all right, you're part of the problem.
You don't put a lot of shit. Like it's hard to like. I was trying to find like clips of you. Like
I'm trying to
like-
take clips down now.